And then when you look into archaeological evidence, we see huge skulls and huge like leg femurs that would fit this kind of thing. And I believe that people making up this concept of dinosaurs actually was to cover up.
Wait a second.
Now you struck a nerve.
You just said. Hold on a second. You just said guys who made up the concept of dinosaurs. What do you mean?
Now you ticked off ETT, man. Why'd you do that? No,
I mean, there might have been some kind of big reptiles, but not to the extent of what you see in like your Smithsonian Museum of like natural history.
What about the sauropod?
Yeah, no. Is that something mentioned in the Bible?
Oh, I'm just asking you, that long neck dinosaur that has that long neck and that long tail, the one from the Jurassic World movies, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I don't know how those dinosaurs would have been mating. It doesn't look very compatible.
So you're saying that's not real?
I mean, if you ask how the bones are made in the museums, they'll tell you it's just crushed up chicken bone mashed together. They don't have any real bones.
Well, the real bones are kept locked away. Of course, to make a replica of what they look like. Do you know that dinosaur is mentioned in the scriptures?
Maybe I don't remember, but
Job. Just to go ahead and read Job the 40th chapter. Now we're incorrect. That's not that dinosaur. Now the burden of proof is on you to tell me what creature that is, because the only creature that we know of at this current point in time that ever existed would be a sauropod dinosaur. If it's the depiction that we see in that chapter, there's no other creature that you can tell me that fits it. We can read it for you, but I mean,
behemoth?
There's really no other. Go ahead. Yeah, the behemoth creature.
Okay, I mean, that's one name of an animal. It doesn't tell me there was like thousands of different kinds of dinosaurs.
Well, it proves the creatures did exist.
I think you're...
All right, let me hit you with another one. Did you know that around the world there's temples, ancient temples, and in fact there's even one in Jerusalem, you can do the research on it, that they show in the depictions on these temples, right, and even in cave drawings as well, they show these ancient creatures with humans on them. So, I mean, there's so much proof that these things existed. I mean, I don't know, are you just repeating what you're saying because you heard it on the internet where you listened to Eric Dubé? Is that why you're repeating that, man? Or like, where are you getting this from?
I mean, I even know there's the other, besides behemoth, there's these other two creatures which I believe the 80 books talk about. It's you guys should know, it's Leviathan, and what's the other one?
Let's see, the Leviathan, the behemoth. Yeah, I know about those. I wouldn't be sure on the third one.
Yeah, so there's behemoth, Leviathan, and there's another one. So I believe those exist, but the full story of the whole like thousands of different dinosaurs that were here millions and millions of years ago, and that they were all wiped out and extinct by like some asteroid. We all know the Earth is flat and space is fake, and that the Earth most likely is definitely not anywhere near millions of years old. So those are some of the reasons why I don't believe they existed.
Oh, okay, but let me comment on that. Just because the story that they give is not totally accurate, it doesn't mean that they didn't exist. For an example, they say the sun is 93 million miles away. We know that's not true, but that doesn't mean that the sun's fake, right? Would you agree on that? Yeah,
because we can see this.
For an example, they say the sun is 93 million miles away. We know that's not true, but that doesn't mean that the sun's fake, right? Would you agree on that?
Yeah, because we can see this, ETT, we can see the sun and feel its heat every day. I mean, that's a bad analogy.
And for the record, Eric addressing as a rapper, so I wouldn't take everything he says seriously. Again, I don't have a position on this like ETT does, but I wouldn't be surprised, that there were creatures like that, and they're still not just above ground. As IDL would say, land ships. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if there are creatures underwater that we would look at and be like, well, what the hell is that? So why not?
But out of curiosity, though, what creature do you believe the behemoth is? If that's not a dinosaur, from your understanding, what do you think that could be described?
You talking to me or Rebel? Rebel? Yeah, go ahead.
No idea. It said it ate grass like an ox. I'm not. A lot of the images we got of dinosaurs was that they were eating other flesh. So.
Well, that particular. Well, hold on a second. That shows that you might not know what you're talking about, because that particular dinosaur, they're not a meat eater. You can do the research on that in your free time. But that particular dinosaur just eats greens and stuff.
All right. So, I'm just saying, it talks about one. It just mentions one name. That doesn't tell me there was a bunch of thousands of other kinds of dinosaurs.
Okay, but what do you think about like historical accounts? Throughout history, we have thousands of stories, let's say starting from the 1300s, if not even before then, leading up to say a few hundred years ago, of these creatures that knights have went up against and regular people have went against. In fact, you can do the research on this even in this modern day, over in the Amazon rainforest. There's tribes over there who they have they claim that they see the creature. They call it the Mekele Bembe. Now, they were asked to draw what this creature looked like, And the depiction that these people drew, remember, these people don't have access to, the modern internet we have. They don't have access to books. These are remote tribes in the middle of nowhere. Now, when they were shown the pictures of these dinosaurs and, elephants and hippos, the only creature they all went crazy when they seen was a picture of a sauropod dinosaur. And they pointed out, it's like, oh, yeah, that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. So it's very interesting. You should look into that in your free time. Once again, you can look up on YouTube. It's called the Makeli Bembe is what it's called.
That sounds funny. That just sounds dope, man. That's wild.
Right. But the point is, in fact, there's a book written about this creature. You can check it out. It's called I believe the book's called A Living Dinosaur or something like that.
Well, I guess, why don't we ask the person who will know the answer definitively? Perry. Like, why don't you bring that up? It's like, if you tell him that, he probably has a dinosaur living in his damn house and just show you. So that's a list of questions that we have for our good friend Perry.
Wait a second. I got a question real quick. And Rebel, I won't hold you on this for too much, man. I was just intrigued because you brought that up. So you think, I'm not putting this on you, but I'm asking because I listened to other guys who subscribe to this idea, like Eric Dubé. They basically believe that all of the what's the word I'm looking for? Excavations around the world where they find these skeletal remains and excavate them. He believes that's all fake. Right? Are you of the same idea, or like, what do you think about how we have people who their job is to excavate these bones when they find them? Do you believe that's all fake, or like, what do you think about that?
I don't agree with Eric Dubé's most of what he holds, especially in a religious and spiritual sense.
Right.
He's more of an Eastern mysticism, yoga freak, and vegan stuff like that. His flat Earth work is really good, and I haven't looked into the dinosaur stuff. I haven't really heard him talk about the dinosaur stuff. So my point of view, it doesn't come from him at all. What I can say is that I believe what archaeologists do uncover or say they are uncovering, there might be a conspiracy to cover up any kind of excavation of skeletons or bones that may point to giants, which would then prove the Bible's account is true.
I agree with that 100%.
Pops, coming in hot, man. What's up, dude?
What's going on?
What's up, Pops?
Wait, but real quick, I don't want to negate that though. But could you give me an answer on that? Do you believe that all of the dinosaur skeletal remains are being excavated around the world? Do you believe that's all fake? Because there's tens of thousands of people who their job is to excavate these skeletal remains. So you believe that that's all fake, or what do you think about that?
I understand. There's also thousands upon thousands of people whose job it is to tell us about outer space. We know that's all.
Yeah, that's a fair.
I agree.
I don't necessarily disagree with your point, but to word it in that way is misleading because of exactly what he just said. So
cool. But what do you think about say for an example, there's how could I word it? So you believe, and I'm just asking you because I don't know what your stance is, but you believe that all of the footage that we have of the excavation of all these skeletal remains, so that's all fake according to you. But by the same line of reasoning, how would you then believe that all the other excavation videos, say if someone finds an ancient Roman, coin or something, how is that real? But when they find skeletal remains, that one's fake. I just don't see how we could come.
What I think is going on is ETT has a large net worth invested in dinosaur stocks, and so this is a deep conspiracy, because their ETT could very well be a billionaire. We don't know, but I don't know, man. I'd be inclined to go with really whatever the Bible says, ultimately, and then there are things and animals and stuff that even we don't even have been exposed to. I would say true, and I would same thing with outer space. Are there things that the Most High has out there? I mean, it has to, because where would physicality end? Would it end at the firmament? That doesn't make sense. So
we got to ask. Ask Pops. Do you think dinosaurs are